Hey, this is Rodney Walker here with Daniel Domenech at the National Education Conference. And Daniel, tell me about this year's conference and what you guys are anticipating will happen as a result of the experience here today.
Well, this is a very exciting day for us. It's our national conference. We're expecting over 3,000 educators from around the country, most of them school superintendents. And it's a very challenging time right now for education because we really don't know the future. We really don't understand with the new administration how we're going to be going and what's going to happen. So there's a lot of anxiety on the part of people. But at the same time, you almost have to see this as an opportunity because we can definitely be proud of our educational system in America. But I think all of us realize that it's not where it needs to be. There are too many young people that are failing, too many young people that are not getting the opportunity for quality education that they need to have. And it needs to change. We need to move quickly into the 21st century and abandon a lot of things that we have been doing that really is a throwback to the industrial age.
Sure, sure. How does this conference help to strengthen that?
Well, because there's so many presentations that are going on that expose the people that are coming here to these new ideas and new way of doing it. For example, the technology. It's an explosion in terms of technology. What's happening in the classroom? An example. It's not a matter of having a Kindle or whatever to
Sure.
read now. So it's just an electronic version of the paper.
Okay.
But if you have one of these devices like a Kindle and a student comes across a word that they don't know, well, all they have to do is press the word and all of a sudden there's a definition right there. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
So and that's a major factor in a child's ability to read and read well, vocabulary.
Yes.
So how easy can you make it for a child to find out the definition of a word they don't know, then just press the word and there's the definition. So that's just an example of how technology can really change the game, and provide children with a much better education.
That's great. What would you say is one of the major changes in the industry right now that educators are experiencing?
Well, the technology for sure. Yeah, it's just revolutionary. A lot of it then has to do with training our teachers and how to use it, and take advantage of it. There's a lot of factors. There's so much out there. How do you weed out the good from the bad? So that there are major issues. But at the same time, I happen to be on the board of USAC, which is the organization that manages the E-rate.
Okay.
The E-rate is the third largest source of federal funding for education.
Okay.
$3.9 billion are given out every year to schools for their wireless broadband capacity. And that's huge. That's very important for our schools so that they have the access to the internet along with the technology.
Got it. So technology is really driving the future as we continue on.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the biggest challenge that school districts and schools are faced with in this time?
I would say still the issue of equity. When you see the way we fund education, and you see school systems that are funding, they're spending 4 times as much per pupil as another. And the expectation is that both of these systems are supposed to perform the same way. Really? That can't happen. And where is that lack of equity? Well, it's mostly in urban and rural areas of poverty.
Sure.
Where the resources aren't there. The money is not there to provide the students with that technology,
Sure.
With those quality instructors that know what they're doing, with the materials, with large class size as opposed to small ones. So that's a factor,
Okay.
where we're not comparing here apples and apples. It's
Sure.
really apples and oranges. And so we have to deal with the issue of equity. And that's where the federal government is supposed to come in. The federal government was supposed to try to, level the playing field. And when we hear talk about taking dollars away from public education for private schools, you go, what?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not giving our schools the money that they need, and now we're going to take it away from them, to give it to private organizations that are not subject to the same accountability standards as the public schools. That's a major concern.
Wow. So what can communities and regular individuals do to help support the effort to strengthen our schools, based upon what you're saying?
Well, what we see happening in communities that are engaged and involved and educated, because I think that's a responsibility of our educational leaders, our superintendents. You have to educate the community so that they understand what the issues are. Then those communities can get involved and engage and contact their elected officials and say, hey, we're not getting a fair deal here. And we need the resources, and it's your job to make sure that our kids are getting the resources that they need so that they can become the productive members of society that we all want them to be.
That's great. Final question. We have a lot of superintendents, a lot of school administrators that are here, and we know that sometimes this can be an isolating and challenging position. What would you say to those superintendents, and what is this organization doing to continue to strengthen them so that they can go forward in the future?
Well, we're doing a tremendous amount. We have thousands of superintendents that are actively engaged with us. We have our certification program. We have our aspiring superintendent programs. We have our programs for our urban leaders. We have programs galore where we're providing the superintendents with the opportunity, first of all, to be a network and come together, to be a learning community and support each other, but at the same time by giving them all the skills that they need to succeed on their job.
Right. So ongoing training and development and networking.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Well, guys, you got to hear it first with Daniel. Thanks for the great work that you guys are doing with this conference, and we wish you guys continued success in all your endeavors.
Thank you much. Appreciate it.